Hello and welcome to my in-scale vlog on what's the date today? Thursday the 5th of February. Now, been really busy with the older model train set, and you will see soon what I've been doing. Let's have a look. Now, it's not a question of what you can see, more or less what you can't. Now, as you guys remember, I'm using the Fleischmann track. Oh, little train stop. You little bugger. Oh, it stops when you're recording. I'm using Fleischmann track and points, more turnouts, and Fleischmann motors to power it. Now, in my last video, you would have seen them all above at track level. Let's see if we. And I started off with this one over here because that's where my engine shed's going to go. I thought, well, I've done that with a Dremel, and it was pretty nasty, to be honest, because it generated a lot of smoke. I thought, why not do the rest? It's not horrifically difficult. And I thought, let's give it a try. So I looked up some YouTube videos on chiseling, and I think the word to describe it is called what do you call it? When you make a slot into something. And I've forgotten again. But anyhow, what I've done was to invert all of the points. Now, it was at some cost, because I lost 1 point motor, as seen here. Yeah. Unfortunately, he was a victim of my incompetence, is the only way to describe it, but you know, it's a lesson learned, and maybe it can be fixed or used for something, spares or whatever. But yeah, unfortunately one was a victim, but everything else went really well. Given the large amount of, well, from me, the amount of them, I think it's not a bad result. So it's like, here you can see them, there's a whole set there. This one I've not done, for reasons I shall explain shortly. And got some here, and another one there. Now obviously you can't flip these bits on the, what do you call this, decoupler track. These go straight onto here and that lifts up. So yeah, but I think it generally looks a lot better. The important thing on this part of here is that I can now get a full length platform in there. So I can have pretty long carriages configurations in there. The things I've done this with was with this from Homebase, little rubber mallet, and a 12mm chisel. Now there's a variety of chisels. I didn't know there were so many different types of chisel for watching the YouTube videos about chiseling. But yeah, this is the chisel I got, 12mm. It's just a little bit bigger than the motors. See here. See, it's a little bit wider. So it makes a good start. But what I found is, like you can see, generally as I progressed, I got a little better at each one. I chiselled out the holes, and you need a bit of room, one for the cables, and two to get them in comfortably, because what you don't want to happen, and what I found on a couple of these points, is that it can lift the whole point up. If you don't leave enough space around them, you can lift the whole point up, which makes the running obviously, so that's not going to work. You can't have that. So having more space, like this one, you see it's really close. There's the track, and there's the point. I mean, my fingernail can barely fit in there. It's good, because then all you need to do is a bit of masking tape, ballast over it, and no one's going to be none the wiser. No one's going to see it, but you're going to have actuated points with no motors. I think Where I learnt this from was someone who was discussing this about like all the different types of points and the pros and cons, and people that really like piccolo track but don't like the points motors. And what Fleischmann do in their expo layouts is exactly this: is they make the holes, flip the point motors over, and attach them thus so. Now you'll find there's a different types of point motors, and I will put links into these on the video. But you need the ones, if you want to do this yourself, you need the motors which feed from the middle. You can get left and right handed point motors where they will only work from one end. Here from these you can see it works from both, making it flippable. So how to go about the chiselling? Well, this is a really old wooden table, and I think the wood it's made from is like compressed chipboard. Yeah, I didn't know that before starting to go through it, but having a new chisel made it very easy work. And the top is just the original plywood I got from, I think it's MDF, is it? I got from what's the name of the shop? Wicks. So that was easy to go through. Just bang bang and cut through it. And as I got better, I mean, cutting out these holes got simpler. So it's a case like make the holes and then make lines across it and then chisel along, and then you can make the holes deep enough, because actually these points are quite deep, and there's a bump right in the middle of it where you'll see from this little magnet, this little switch flies along. That's obviously inverted and needs space, so it's not as flat as it looks from this side. I mean, here you can see it's quite flat, but the other side actually has a bump on it, as you'll see in my earlier videos. So it's important to have some depth in it. Yeah, more than you think you need is probably better than having it too shallow. Now, I did try with this one, just to do it without taking the track up, because obviously taking the track up means unscrewing everything. It's a screwdriver and chiseling and laying and making it all work properly again. And as you can see, it's not just the points. These points aren't fixed. That's what Fleischmann recommend. They aren't fixed to the track bed. They're just floating. Anything's holding these down at this point, this track and this, and the screws in it. So obviously to get just these two pieces out, you have to unscrew this, and this. Imagine when you get to that stage over there, you have to unscrew the entire back bit. Hence why there's still some bits missing. But what I recommend is, and hopefully we'll be able to see, is, because I know it's working already, is you get a biro, a pen. You can use a marker, but as long as you can see it when you go to take the track out and put it back, just mark it down. Yeah, before you take all the track up, I marked it out how it was. As you can see here, there's a biro line there, and then took it all up, chiseled the holes, put one each, and then I took it out from this side. So I started taking all the track up from here, and then put it back in reverse, tweaking as you go. Yeah, because getting, especially like this one here, it's close to this one, and that one as well. So yeah, you do it in reverse, order putting it back together, and then run the train. I ran the train around it, and found here on this joint that it wasn't smooth, and a little train would jump out of it, which wasn't obviously much good. So yeah, relay it again, work out the problems, run your finger over it so it's nice and smooth and run as good as before. It's the lines which you drew are a good guide. And the train was running as good before, but with the inverted points. So for me now, it's basically, I think I've almost done on this level of the layout. The track that's attached immediately to the baseboard. And I said I would go back to talking about why this point isn't inverted. That one there, because basically it's not going to be seen. With any model layout, you don't want to show. I think you don't want to show the sharp turns. It's a good opportunity for putting in tunnels and stuff. So, large part of back section will be covered by tunnels and something else, which I'll cover shortly, and that bit as well. But the straight won't be, so there'll be a kind of valley between there. That's what I'm going for. So hopefully next time I'll draw some lines, and I'm thinking of using styrofoam as the foundation, and then paper mache wire over the top to make the cliffs and the mountains. So that will be the plan for the corners. You can see I've had an addition here as well. Put this turnout in here, because what I don't have on this is a fiddle yard. And a fiddle yard sounds like something that's really big, but for me it just might be this little extension here going up to the edge of the layout, so I can put my trains on and off without interfering with the running of the trains. Eventually it might be nice to build my own bespoke table that fills the gap between the radiator and the table here, but at least with this bit here I've got enough space to put trains on and off without interrupting what's going on in the main layout. And this bit here obviously feeds in to what will be the elevated section that goes over the rest. Hence why I've got my little Swiss mountain loco. Now I've done some tests already with my rack rail. Unfortunately I didn't video it, but I'll do that next time because I've got some interesting things happening there. But yeah, plenty enough space in that small area to make it elevate. And what I've been working on whilst in between is fixing my old models, which for the elevated section. So there's my viaduct. I mean, it's a bit beaten up, some of the really fine detail on there's a bit with the walkways and the railings is damaged, unfortunately, but I don't think that's too much of a problem. Could cover it up with moss, make it look rusty if it's actually meant to be like that, so fine by me. So that'll be one archway, so I've got that all glued back together, and I've got my viaduct as well, glued that back together. So I'm happy that I've found all the pieces and got that all to fit together. Because that was you have to imagine this was a flat kit. It's a Fowler model. These are Fowler viaducts, and they do take a fair bit of time to build. Every single flat piece is every single edge is essentially a piece you have to glue together, and there's a lot of pieces inside of it you can't even see. It's like viaducts, still really well made Fowler models. I really like them. Details just brilliant. So, I'm glad I've managed to resurrect it, and it doesn't look half bad. And that will be going over the back somewhere there, running over the back. So you're building up an idea of what things will look like. Got this bridge as well. That needs a little more work on it, but that will probably go somewhere around there, a little bit higher up. But as I said, like there'll be got the straight bits in there, so that'll be the where the bridge goes. But anyway, there's mine done for this evening. Hope you enjoy, and catch you again soon. All the best.